Yo, the button. She's been hit.
Oh shit.
I pressed it.
Damn.
She announced her
Damn, dog.
presence, said, Yo, I'm listening.
They're always listening. That's the secret.
Truly.
Whether or not
Is it
they
a
admit
secret?
it. I don't think it's a secret. I think we all know. I think we've
I think
accepted.
we've done known.
We've been done doing knowing that.
Truly. We are all doing great mentally, physically, spiritually. It's been a good time.
Yeah, it's great. It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
it's doing great. Yeah, we're doing wonderful. Uh, yeah, things, stuff happening. We're doing the episodes. Uh, fuck. I had a thing that was funny recently, and I was gonna share, and I have absolutely spaced it. I fucking goddamn it.
Brrr.
This was going to be one of the intros where I was like, I'm prepared. I have banter that is relevant, and it has absolutely escaped my fucking skull. Oh, I
Cool.
remember now. I remember what it is. So I was looking. I told you guys about it, but I haven't told everybody. I was looking up World of Darkness things for the UK for a friend of mine because I apparently am in their first foray into the game world, and I was like, let me explain to you how ridiculous this bullshit is. So I was
Hell
looking
yeah.
things up in the multi-splats because I was like, okay, this is what this group's doing here, this is what's doing here, yada yada. I've come to find out the technocracy just decided to reverse engineer Selkies.
Pardon?
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
Reverse engineer is an interesting word for a bioorganism, I guess.
Yeah.
yeah, it seems silly because we're in the land where like the Selkie, the seal woman mermaid thing is just here. We don't need to make them. And they went, no,
Yeah.
it's cheaper to reverse engineer seal human hybrids. We're gonna do a tusk. It is cheaper for us to do a tusk than it is to follow British and European like OSHA regulations.
Huh.
And I'm like deep sea
Huh.
oil rigs in the North Sea, and I'm just like, that's what?
Yeah, that's a choice.
Yeah. And so between that and finding out Richard Dawkins fell in love with a calculator, I just like I don't know what to do with my week. Um
You know what? Good for her. Everyone deserves love.
Ah, yeah. So that was the psychosis I went under. Was just like a okay, all of these things make sense for Britain, and then that happened, and I was just like, what, I, what,
Excuse me?
why?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
why?
It's like no, it makes sense. They can handle the cold and the water pressure. It's like I get that, but how is this cheaper than paying for scuba gear? I don't. What? How does this any of this function? Uh yeah, so that's
That
that. And
that also
I
implies that Selkies have a good work ethic.
that's true. That's why they had to reverse engineer them because if they got regular Selkies, that would not have worked.
And they'd probably just leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, actually, I'm not really into it. Let's go.
Be
This
like
is
if
very banal.
It'd be like if I took a normal dolphin and took it out in the sea. It's like, all right, go get minerals. Probably just leave.
It
Just do
it,
it.
Yeah, you
it
gotta
would get
train it
high off
first.
of yeah, I was gonna say, nah, that bitch gonna get high off of puffer fish.
I mean, dolphins are smart, but can you teach a dolphin to mine? That's the question.
Mm.
I'm
I feel
sorry, all
like,
I could
yeah,
think.
you probably could. You could probably get it to dig around and stuff. Now,
Let's go to
you'd
our
have to
local zoo and
specialize
ask.
the machinery. You'd have to specialize all the machinery for a dolphin to use, but I bet a dolphin could learn how to use it.
I think all three of
Dolphins
us
are
should go to
terrible.
like a dolphin show and just ask a lot of very specific questions about the abilities of dolphins to mine. Like four or five of us. That's a
Spread
I
cool
us out
trick,
throughout
but
the audience so they
yeah,
don't know that we're together.
exactly.
I hate this so much.
Be
I
So
like,
do
do
you
this is
think
genuinely.
if set up properly, do you think you could teach a dolphin to weld underwater?
I
And then later on, another question related to mining or underwater jobs.
Speaking of jobs, hi and welcome to Blank Bodies, a Vampire the Masquerade V5 tabletop and horror podcast. I'm your host Hunter, and I'm joined by.
John, and over there,
Ayo,
that one over
it's
there.
Sarah. I'm still
Mhm.
over there. uh oh, I guess I'll say this at the top of the episode. Wait, this is not. Never mind, we're good. I believe by the time this comes out, I will have hung out with people in Glasgow, and Hopefully in the future that was a good time. Woo. Uh I should be coming back to the UK if the government will allow me. So if you missed out, we could do it again once I'm back. Anyways, speaking of cities, we're talking about a city that you all voted for months ago. Detroit. We're talking about Detroit. In terms of World of Darkness. We're doing that this week. Woo.
Hell yeah.
I apologize that took so long. I looked down the barrel of finishing the clan episodes, and I decided that the Herculean task had to be completed first before anything else happened.
But we're done.
It's done now. It's behind me.
Now we just have to go back and do the weird side clans.
Oh God.
Chaosid episode win.
Chaosid episode win. Oh man.
If somebody will Venmo me enough money to get a boba, I will do it. How about that?
Wow, that's not even that high a price, my homie.
No, they just have to find my Venmo.
All right,
Damn. We're doomed. We already have it. There's so many.
What?
It's done. It's done.
Yeah. Look,
we're cooked.
I deserve a sweet
We're doing
treat.
a Chaosid episode. Gonna happen.
Look, but much like the Fae, I am demanding a dairy-based treat to do the task. It's fine. Anyhow,
What would be
so
good right now?
part of Patreon bonuses is folks can vote on things that we cover in the show, so we are actually covering the information y'all actually give a fuck about. A wee while ago, did a poll on, hey, city deep dives, what do you want us to talk about next? And y'all voted Detroit, so here we are. I will give Hunter the list of the cities that we're going to put up for y'all to vote this next time, and we'll decide on the next city. Will we ever escape the Midwest? Who knows at this rate. I'm here for the Midwest supremacy.
We still got
fine.
Milwaukee. We still got Louisville. We still got Indy,
St.
obviously. St. Louis.
St. Louis.
Chicago.
Got Akron, Ohio.
We could actually do Chicago.
Columbus.
Cleveland.
We
We never really have to leave the Midwest, honestly. We could just keep doing quad in our little corner and discuss nothing else. No, I'm not going to do that. That sucks.
Start getting into the really small towns, and we can just build those ones out, like Moonville.
Here comes our Fort Wayne episode.
That's just going to be talking about meth and furries. That's all that episode will be.
So it's a werewolf campaign, or it's a werewolf city.
I didn't say it. So we're going to be digging into real world information about the city for folks who want to use Detroit for their game, as well as some lore notes that I've been able to drudge up. And at the end, we'll talk a bit about just things and stuff in media with Detroit that we're like, this is cool, you should check it out. It would be cool for your game. Huzzah. Content warning. Mostly regular WAD stuff / hey, I was going to say this up top because I didn't write it on the script because I am a hack and a fraud. I'm going to explicitly be talking about the fact that, for some reason, in both the news and the media, when you have a city in the United States that has a large black or brown population, people like to say, really ratchet shit. I will be talking about that and why it's fucking stupid. If that gets your panties in a bunch, because I dare to talk about other human beings like they're humans, I think you need to go have a big, long think about that as a person. Oh my god. Things might happen for reasons outside of the narratives you have been told from the news studios. Wow. So, sources, Second Inquisition book, Camarilla, Gehenna Wars, Beckett's Jihad Diary, Havens of the Damned. The Red Sign, Vampire, The Eternal Struggle. Yes, I had to source the fucking card game.
Nice.
Get info. I'll have notes about that later. That was a bitch. There's also the novel Hunters Hunted 2. There's also Technocracy book, Iteration X, Mage the Ascension, Lost Paths. I also went to the U.S. National Park Service, Detroit Free Press, the City of Detroit official websites, the U.S. Census Bureau, the Detroit Times, Harper's Magazine, The Guardian, Revel News has a really good deep dive expose about like the housing crisis in Detroit if you want more information about that. Also, Great Lakes Rancher Fire and Paleo Indians, archaeological and paleontological caribou remains from Michigan. I read about ancient bones
Bones.
Bones. Also the book This is Detroit 1701 to 2001 by Arthur Woodford. Class, Craft, and Assemblies: The Impact of High Wages in the Detroit Auto Industry. Detroit Charity Turns Blight into Gardens, Parks, and Homes as well, by Nicole Wallace. So not everything is as dour as some of you may be feeling. Our cousins on the Mitten might be doing okay.
Mitten.
Yeah. Speaking of Mitten, geolocations. Michigan is in two parts because of land disputes that I will not be getting into right now, but the situation is very funny. So there's the peninsula and then the Mitten. It looks like a mitten. That's why we call it the Mitten. If you go to the southeasty corner bottom where like the base of the thumb would be on the Mitten, that's where Detroit is.
Okay.
That is the easiest way to remember that. Like you could literally, if you know where Chicago is, if you just go due east, you'll eventually hit Detroit.
That's fun.
Yeah, the Mitten is great. I wish the rest of our states were as fun and easy to navigate as the Mitten. Unfortunately, we got a bunch of squares and then a bunch of psychotic squiggles that I will dare not to explain.
It's kind of a whole
I
thing.
think I think there's a series, if I remember right, from the History Channel that's called How the States Got Their Shapes that you can watch if you care about that shit.
That's fun.
Yeah. So, Detroit is sandwiched between Lake St. Clair on the north and the massive Lake Erie on the south. The Detroit River connects the two, and it's also what separates Detroit from Windsor, Ontario, which is the Canadian side of things. If you get like an aerial view of the Detroit metropolitan area, there's a big old circle, and some of it's on the peninsula on the other side of the Detroit River. That's on the Canada side. I'm not talking about that shit. That's a different episode. If you want us to talk about Canada, go vote. Pay us $5 so you can vote for it. I don't know. I am too tired for this episode. I should not have done that. The city is 142 miles square, 378 kilometers. It's roughly like half the size of Chicago and like a third of the size of New York City. Cool.
I dig that. That's fun.
Yeah. So it's like a mid-size, kind of a city. Detroit itself, like the actual city itself, is roughly 650,000 people in it. So not very population dense. The population had exploded in previous decades due to the automotive industry, and then things happened that we will discuss that fucked that entirely. Detroit has had some of the largest population shrinkages within any city in the United States over the past like 100 years. Its peak population was during the 1950s with nearly 1.9 million people in the city proper. And the most dramatic drops shockingly happened around the 2008 housing crisis.
No way.
Can't imagine why. Ooh, what else are we? Yeah, so a lot of people, when they talk about Detroit, they will talk about the Detroit metropolitan area, the Detroit metro, which is the wider area around it, at least from my talking with people that are in Michigan and also reading things. If you live in the Detroit area and I am wrong, that's fine. Tell me. I'm fine with being wrong. That's just been my interactions with that. So the Detroit metropolitan area basically covers the 5 surrounding counties. And with that included, it should bring the total population to like almost 5 million people, as according to the 2020 census. So in terms of your game balance, you might need to have this city account for bigger or less to add. I trust you guys. Handle it. I found that Detroit is the second largest metropolitan area in the Midwest, short of Chicago, and also the international travel between Detroit and Windsor is the second most busy border crossing in the United States, except for San Diego, Tijuana. Apparently is the busiest border crossing.
Interesting.
So it's just like, hey, if you want to have a lot of like weird international travel, Detroit could be a fun way to go about it if you want. Detroit's also a major stop along the St. Lawrence Speedway. So basically, due to a connections of rivers and canals, you can go like through Lake Erie straight up, following between Canada and New England and just kind of dump out into the ocean. So if you want to have those kinds of things in your game come up and be a dick, cool. I love scaring people with big deep water. So that you want to have things come in from the ocean, you have options if you so desire. In terms of the makeup of the folks in the city, Detroit proper, like the city itself, is majority black with 77% of the population being African American. The white population is 14%. I wanted to make a note that because of the way laws and census stuff is in the United States, Arab people on the census count as white. There's a whole case law about it. We don't have time for that right now. But I wanted to bring that up because Dearborn, Michigan, and which is part of the metro area for Detroit, has the some of the highest Arab American populations. It's the only Arab majority city in the United States. And it's also the Detroit metropolitan area is also one of the largest Arab populations outside of West Asia, Middle East, North Africa.
Huh.
Yeah, which is why, by extension, in Indianapolis, we get a lot of really bitchin' food.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I love some good food. Anyway, so the rest of Detroit, 10% of folks in the area are Latin or Hispanic, 3% are mixed, 1.6 are Asian, 0.22 are indigenous, and then 0.22 are also Native Hawaiians.
Okay.
Huh.
I don't know why that was a split. I don't know. That was just the census data. In terms of religions, the city is majority Christian with 67%. It's mostly leaning Protestant. 24% claim no religion, and 8% makes up all other religions. I was more surprised to be like a quarter of the city is just like, I don't do the God thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, neat. I'm not used to that from the US. So
Yeah.
fun times. What else? Earliest human records. This is where I read about the bones. And it also ties into the Goblin Road stuff a little bit from the previous episode. There is evidence for paleo-indigenous people in the area dating back to 8,000 to 11,000 BCE, around when the Wisconsin glacier melted.
Wisconsin.
The Wisconsin ice. Yeah. So there's people that's been here the whole time. The whole time? Yes, the whole time.
The whole time.
I would love to talk more about that, but unfortunately, a lot of that has been lost due to the colonization and genocide stuff that I am not enough of an expert to get into all those details, and I duly apologize. But over the centuries, I know, right? I only know so many things. Over the centuries, the folks that do end up settling in the area when we start getting Western written records are the Wendat, the Ottawa, Potawatomi, Erie, and Haudenosaunee. We start getting records of these various tribal nations around the 1600s when the French show up. Because we love the French. No. Yes, no. So French show up doing French missionaries. They establish one of the oldest Catholic churches in the United States, as well as a fort. But that happens in and around what we will term the Beaver Wars, because that's what the historians call it.
Didn't know they were such violent little dudes.
Little homies. Just I'm glad you went with that as the response, Hunter. I appreciate you.
Well, you're expecting me to talk about fighting pussies or something?
Yeah, honestly.
Oh, that's fair.
Was it just too... It was just low-hanging fruit. Yeah.
No, it's the other one that's low-hanging fruit.
Damn. Yep, that's fair. So, the Beaver Wars is a series of conflicts happening during the 1600s between the Dutch and the English on one side, and then the Haudenosaunee, also with the Wyandot and the French on the other side of the conflicts. It's a lot of, settlers show up, do a thing. Indigenous folks are like, I would prefer you didn't do that, and conflicts ensue. There's a lot of really cool history stuff. I think it's a really fascinating part of history. Unfortunately, I don't have time for details. If for some reason you want more information about the Beaver Wars, go look it up. There's a bunch of interesting things that happen. Where was I? Oh yeah. This is also a much more massive conflict, because I was vaguely aware of the Beaver Wars when I moved to the States, because it does also happen in Indiana, so I learned about it a little bit. I was not aware that this is apparently a across the Midwest into the Eastern Seaboard like level of conflict
Oh,
between multiple nations
oh,
for like 100 years.
what?
Yeah, yeah, it's fucking wild because I'm assuming you got the same shit I did, where they're like, yeah, there was the Beaver Wars, like the French and the natives were like kind of on a team and they fought the British and they
Mm-hmm.
were arguing over trade, nothing else. Don't worry about it.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was actually a
But it was a
huge
whole ass big
international
ass thing.
conflict. Yeah,
Great.
it was.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy, dog. Imagine if we taught history in the U.S. with any care. I don't know. I was getting frustrated because I was like, man, there's a lot of info here. I don't have time to cover this in the episode. But if this was given the same amount of minutia and bullshit that I have gotten every time I've had to learn about European history, that would be kind of cool and sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will continue the tradition, the bad tradition of not going into that detail. So, the wars eventually will be ending in August 4th, 1701, with the Great Peace of Montreal, or La Paix de Brève, being signed between the French and representatives for 39 indigenous nations. Which should belay that this was like a big international conflict as opposed to like, they were just scrapping over some furs in the woods, it's totally not people scrapping for their lives and existence at all. Anyways,
Nah.
yeah.
Those
So
beavers.
the beavers were scrapping. So the French explorer Antoine de la Montcadillac
Whoa, Cadillac.
Cadillac.
Cool.
Yeah. Folks are like, why do we have all these French names for all these cars in Detroit? And I'm just like, well, reasons.
Here we are.
Yeah. So he came down from what was called New France, which is just Quebec, to establish Fort Pontchartrain de Detroit, which was signed off by our boy, King Louis XIV. The bitch with the mirrors.
Hey, Louis is back.
Hey,
expect to
he's
return so
back.
quickly.
I know.
He's slowly going to
It's
become
almost
a
like-
main character on this show.
I
Oh no.
hope not. No, I do not want the King Louis XIV to keep showing up. I don't want it, but I know when we talk more about Toreador things, he's gonna have to come up, and I'm not looking forward to it. Because he will not shut up about glass.
Glass is
It's
cool.
magic. How could you
Get into
shut up
mage.
about it? Look at it. It's magic.
Mm. Look, it's great. I can look at myself fuck all of my mistresses at multiple angles at the same time. I am a god. I'm just like, sir, please stop.
I can look forward and see my butt. That's
Oh.
crazy.
Oh god. Was it Louis XIV or Louis XVI that had the observational birthing chair? I'm trying to remember.
That sounds insane.
It is. It absolutely is. That's another problem for another day.
And maybe I should have paid attention in history class. Maybe if they were telling stories like this.
Would've been
Truly,
easier
just
for
be like,
sure.
what? Birthing chair? I'm locked in. Yeah,
I mean, that
no,
phrase isn't that exciting. It's the observational. It's hobbyization of the human function that
it really gets you locked in. Fantastic. Yeah, so Louis XIV was like, hey, French people, move to this area and just the land is free. You can just have it. It's free real estate. It's like ducks at the park.
Not quite how that works, but
No, it's not. That's how you do a colonization, and he did.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. I want to bring this up because it's like it's terrible history things that should be acknowledged, and two, I did spend an inordinate amount of time in my last chunk of what should have been the last chunk of my degree reading all these French philosophers being like, we're so better than the Americans because we didn't do colonization or slavery, and I'm over here going, donc quoi?
But look at this.
What are you talking about? What do you mean? That's insane. What? So I have big feelings
You're just
about
being
that.
silly, right?
Yeah. It's just I'm like, what the fuck are you okay. They're like, well, that happened over there. It doesn't count. And I'm like, you acted like you owned it. What are you, sir? Craziness. So that all happened. And then there was the French and Indian War, which is also another, it's another part of history in the Americas that has a lot of ramifications for world history. We're not going to get into too many of the details outside of this happens at the same time that the Seven Years' Wars happened, and I have the eternal annoyance of it's it's this whole entire conflict doesn't get listed as a global conflict even though it fucking is. It's like we've kind of had world wars before the big dub dub uno and dub dub dos.
Dub dub.
Yeah. Uh, so it's like, okay, but when I've tried to read about it and be like, hey, these things are interconnected and actually like really important and should be understood, and they're just like, well, you see, the French and Indian Wars happened in the colonies and weren't in the European theater, so it doesn't really matter in terms of how we're describing historical things. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? What? And it's like, well, these indigenous folks don't have a standing arms like they had standing armies. Like, well, they didn't have like, yes, they had their own versions of uniforms. Okay.
I think
Okay, cool.
the requiring of uniforms for a world war in general is a pretty
It's
wild
wild.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like,
nuts.
sorry, it's not a world war.
Yeah.
They weren't dressed fine enough. Try again.
Yeah, it drives me fucking bananas where it's like, hey, the results of the French and Indian Wars like dramatically affected things that happened in the Seven Years' War, which basically set everything up for like the American Revolution and the French Revolution and a bunch of other shit. So it's like, no, this is actually important, guys. Can we talk about it with the same weight, please? No? Okay, cool. Just gonna sit over here with that info. So that gets wrapped up with the Treaty of Paris in 1763. That's where we are with that. Detroit, at this point, finally gets called Detroit instead of Fort Pontchartrain de Detroit because the English finally take it over as part of the Treaty of Paris. And if there's anything we English speakers like doing, it is shortening a goddamn phrase.
It's true.
Yeah, they get too long. I don't blame them.
We're not saying the whole title. It's just, yeah, you're Detroit now. So that's how that
Makes
happened
more
because we could
sense.
not be fucked. So Detroit and the Great Lakes regions gets shifted to the Americans during the Treaty of Paris for 1783 when we won the American Revolution. It totally wasn't a weird Ponzi scheme from the British to get rid of debt. It's fine. uh, so that happens. This also is the same period of time where we have that weird back and forth between the US and Canada, where we're fighting over where lines are getting drawn because Canada still stays part of the British, and we're like, no, fuck off. And they're just like, no, fuck you. We're gonna burn your capital down and some other shit. And we're just kind of like, you know what, fight me, dog. And eventually we agree on where the lines are. I don't have a better way to explain that at this point in time. But because of that, Detroit doesn't really become a full city because it keeps being like, oh, I'm on the American side. Okay, now I'm on the Canadian side. I'm on the US side. And every time it does a flip, they redo the paperwork to make Detroit a city instead of a fort. Because even in the 1700s, we're still just doing stupid amounts of paperwork. Also, Detroit gets burnt to the ground entirely in 1805. So, basically, you get an etch-a-catch fresh start, and the land that Detroit sits on is officially signed over from the indigenous tribes in that area in 1807. Detroit becomes a city and gets its first mayor in 1824. So it's not been around that long. Michigan becomes a U.S. state in 1837, and Detroit is the state capital for a period of time. After this, a surge of immigrants will come over because there was English and French settlers. Then we get German, Polish, Italian, Greek, Syrian, Lebanese, and then a big influx of Irish folks because of, the famine, the hunger happens, and that sucks in the 1840s. Detroit doesn't really have a lot of black people basically until the automotive industry kicks off, but we do have thing that keeps happening in Detroit over the course of time, which is a series of race riots. I'm not going to talk about all of them. I'm talking about two because they're very integral to things that happen in the city. So this first one I am going to talk about happens during the Civil War in 1863. Uh, to TLDR, a lot of shit in the American Civil War. Lincoln, after the Emancipation Proclamation, the war gets started. Abraham Lincoln has a draft to get Union soldiers. Uh, a lot of the recent immigrants to the U.S. had take a lot of exceptions to being drafted. On top of the, hey, I wasn't here for the slavery thing. I don't know why I'm being involved now. Also, stress, the economic stressors that happen with poor folks and having to scrounge for jobs also gets tied into racial issues that compounded into everything, and it was also just a racist as hell time. So you had a big white population that is not having a good time, and then you have a small African American community in the neighborhood that is also not having a good time. What pops off the situation is a gentleman named Thomas Faulkner, who is a mixed race man who is Spanish and indigenous, not black. Gets accused of touching some white women, as unfortunately happens many times in U.S. history. The white folks in the city just decided this guy was black amongst themselves, and therefore that made the crime heinous and worse than what it already was. So they were up in arms and going to the courthouse and causing all sorts of problems. And then with the tensions and everything else that's going on, violence started to ensue at the courthouse. Guards actually, for once in their fucking lives, tried to do their job.
Yo.
Yeah, unfortunately, they did shoot and kill one of the white attendants, which that kicked off the riot.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it was not good. The riot at the end of it left two people dead, the guy who was shot, and then a black civilian, as well as numerous people injured. At least 200 black people were homeless, with their homes and businesses being looted and burned. The Detroit City Council at that time voted not to give aid to any of these people. That's the whole thing. The results of these riots established the city police department in Detroit, because the riots happened and the city went, I guess we need cops now because this is bananas.
That's the best possible answer.
I was also going to say,
Yeah.
regardless of your feelings on them, though, it's wild that it took a riot for an entire city to be like, maybe we should have some police.
Yeah, maybe.
Like a major U.S. city being like, kind of, that's the surprising part to me, that it took that to be like, maybe we should hire someone to deal with crime.
Yeah, it's the concept of policing is, in the way that we interact with it, is a very recent, like, social development. Like, I think the first police department in the West, as we know it, started in London in like the early 1800s, if I remember correctly. I haven't looked into this recently, so I don't remember entirely. And in the States, a lot of our very early police departments were initially like slave catching brigades, and then they shifted into policing. So that's not a great start. And this, I think the Detroit Police Department getting started due to a race riot that caused so much destruction really set a precedent for like how that department interacts with the community from there on out. And it's fairly well known that the Detroit Police Department did not have black people in it until like the late 20th century.
Whoops.
Yeah,
Except
that's
not at all whoops. I mean, that's
not at
very...
all. Yeah, not at all. It's like it was systemically planned or something. I know I shouldn't be making light of it, but I'm just like it's exhausting, and I'm a white person. I cannot imagine how it is for everybody else. But that's how it is for there. So, I did want to wrap up on the case with Faulkner, because shocking no one found out that he was convicted of the crime after the riots, spent 7 years in jail. And then the two girls who testified against him were caught and tried for fraud.
Oh.
And then after that, confessed that they made up the story, and then he was released. This will happen again several times. It's nuts. I hate it. It's so dumb. I'm angry. But it is an integral part of the story of the city, so I gotta talk about it. So, other integral part of the city, cars.
Yeah, there's a couple that
big
came
thing-
from that city. One or two of them.
Just a couple.
I didn't know they made that movie there.
Kerchow. Uh,
So that'd
off.
be a technocracy thing, right?
That is a
think
good
they've made
chunk of why the
cars?
technocracy's in the city. Yep. It's Henry Ford explicitly.
Is
Well,
he a
that-
technocrat?
I didn't look into it because we're not a mage podcast. Go
Fair
ask
enough.
Mage the podcast.
But also, do you think the technocracy has made living cars like Lightning McQueen?
That is a more
Listen,
important question.
Look, I don't like this because I already had to deal with the fact that multiple people sent me the clip of Hassan Piker talking about the Cars universe having reproduction, so therefore there is the cussy, the car pussy, the cussy, if you will. And he like had a little chart, and I'm just like, why?
That's so upsetting.
It's like, I can't believe Congress wants to ban this man. Like that. This is the guy we're going after. Okay, cool.
Well,
I-
didn't I make you watch that documentary about men who sleep with cars?
You didn't
guys-
make me. I elected to watch that with you because you and I like watching fucked up documentaries.
That's fair. I think Skipper was the one who's not really.
It's because you
excited
didn't
about
like
the
really
topic.
tell me what was going to be happening. You were just like, check this awesome documentary out. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I sit down
Yeah.
and it's like, by the way, I fuck cars. And I'm like, what? Why did you turn this on?
Look,
Hey.
it's a BBC series. It's called Strange Sex. It's fantastic.
It's wild.
Yeah, there's the episode where there's two different guys that fuck cars.
That one's
Those-
especially good because I believe he has sex with Airwolf. He
The
talks
fuck's
about how
Airwolf?
he had sex the helicopter from the TV show Airwolf.
Oh, okay, is that guy?
Wow.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
guy who's the car slut. I will shame him.
Yeah, and then he goes behind they meet. They have the two guys who sleep with cars meet, and then when he gets a moment alone, he sleeps with the other guy's car. Or at least he feels it up.
I thought
Oh
he
my
filled up that guy's
God.
car and then he fucked the BBC's van
Yeah, it's
because they caught him.
It's a good watch. I would recommend it if you're into learning.
Yeah,
You're into
the BBC
learning.
reporter just being like, just filming him through the hotel window, going, I don't know what to do about this. Do we confront him? Which
Sometimes you just gotta
is-
let it ride.
Which I was like, that is a very English response to the situation. It's very funny. Anywho, the car, the automobile. You might have heard about this thing.
Once or maybe even
Uh,
twice you have.
Multiple times even. Part of the reason why Detroit ended up being the motor city, the car place, if you will, is on top of Detroit being set up really well for being just a ridiculously useful shipping hub, it's a place where there's already people mining and processing multiple types of metal ores. You also had access to timber and coal and a large population of cheap labor. So it was almost destiny for it to work out there. Also, prior to the automobile industry, Detroit was a major hub for train and ship construction as well as other manufacturing. So it's just a big industrial city. Which Henry Ford, who is one in a long line of psycho-American industrial magnates, established the Ford Motor Company in Dearborn, Michigan in 1903. I forgot he did that so goddamn early. Henry Ford's a terrible person. He's fucking awful. He's a nightmare man. I cannot undersell that enough or oversell it enough. By 1913, the concept of the assembly line, which Henry Ford did not invent the assembly line. I need that to be understood. Oh my God, people have been doing assembly lines for many decades before this.
But
just,
Henry
like-
Ford, he's an
Yeah.
inventor. Sarah.
I know. I'm not saying he didn't have good ideas sometimes, but like,
He invented.
John, no, I'm gonna crash the fuck out.
Why?
It's
Just because some
like-
guy invented?
Because man invents, man only invent, nothing else. But yeah, So, but he did have what was termed as Fordism, which is a particular process of doing assembly lines and getting
That,
cars out for mass production quickly.
that
It
sounds like a
in term
religion.
kind of he also tried to make like company towns and a bunch of shit that is like hauntingly similar to like the wacky shit that like Kevin O'Leary and a bunch of other rich fucks want to do. It just makes me want to throw people into rivers. They're trying to build the AI data centers so we can't throw them into rivers anymore.
And just throw
Um,
the data centers into rivers.
hell yeah, fuck them.
I don't know. They already fucking up enough water.
That's fair.
Fine.
Handle your local AI data center how you see fit. I'm not here to judge. But with all of that, one of the kind of it's like not the worst idea that he had. But he came at this from a very pragmatic libertarian perspective. If you want to read more about that, you can do that if you want. But Henry Ford had the idea of we can create a peaceful and good society through consumerism, is the best way to explain it. And you can't have a wide base of consumers if A, you don't pay your employees enough to have excess money to spend, and B, you got to give them time to rest and spend the money.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's better than what's going on now.
Truly. So, Henry Ford is part of the reason why the 5-day work week gets standardized overall. There were many decades of labor movements trying to get to 8-hour workday, 5-day work week, 3-day work week, all sorts of different arguments on all those
Let's
kinds of
get to a
things.
3-day work week.
I am going to avoid having another crash out where I'm just like, guys, considering how productive we are as a society, most of us only have to work 3 days.
I would
And
even be
everything would
cool
be
with
done.
doing like 12-hour shifts in three 12-hour shifts. Like I would not have a problem with that.
Yeah.
That's a
But
long shift, but
yeah.
whatever, man.
Yeah, truly. But that will be slowly sliding us into being a technocracy podcast, and I fucking refuse. I don't care how much money Briggs pays us. Or
They have
threatens to pay us.
I mean, they have to release the books first when we get M5.
Yeah.
Truly. But on the flip side, Harrison Ford also did a lot of crushing labor unions and also had a weird hobby of contiguously publishing books and magazines to talk about quote unquote the Jewish problem. So not good. Him and Hitler kind of bros. It was a whole thing. But also again on the reverse side, Henry Ford was also one of the few American industrialists that actually really invested in the black community. And he made a point of like going to local churches in the city to like not only establish good ties with the community, but also to like make sure he was hiring people that like lived in the area and support the community. And he was also one of the employers that was actually pretty good at hiring people fairly and didn't do that kind of discrimination. He did other discriminations. Um, but at the time, from what I note, yeah, so about 12% of the workforce in Ford Motor Company was black at the time, which for the 20s and 30s was fucking huge.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it's it is a little wild to read when I was going through some of these portions of history of just how much of an impact having the Ford Motor Company and then eventually other of these car industries be such a reliable, steady source of income for the black community. And it just made Detroit such a magnet for the community to be like, yeah, you can come here, you can get a good life. There will be people here to like make sure you have community, you can be safe. It's yeah, just tons of material for that. I'm not gonna be speaking for anybody on their behalf, but just go look into it. It's fucking fascinating. Um, where was I in my thing? Oh yeah, so by the 1920s, we have Ford, Buick, Chevrolet, Dodge, and Maxwell all producing millions of cars, which is coconuts when you think that it was like barely a decade ago there was hardly anything, and now it's just we're slanging
Boom.
cars. This economic boom also swells Detroit's population. It will quintuple.
That's a lot.
That 5 times over the course
That's
of
many.
basically a decade. Yeah.
That's many.
Yes. And the people living in the city will also have the highest per capita income out of everybody in the entire country. It's one of the few portions of the country that are not getting super, super fucked by things pre the Great Depression. And this is also the time period where the demographics in Detroit really start to shift to be black majority, but it doesn't quite get there until the 70s. Um, and along with the cars and all the other industry, Detroit actually has more shipping business in it during the 1920s than London and New York combined.
Damn.
So it's like, this was money. This was
Yeah, huge.
huge huge deal. It's like in the 1920s, it's like you could argue that like Detroit was more of an important city than Chicago.
Wild.
Yeah, because car. But yeah, at this time before the Great Depression, Detroit is the wealthiest city in the United States. And then
That's so
and the
nuts.
problems start. It's crazy. Like, just the journey the series gone on is coconuts. Yeah, so Great Depression hits, obviously. When people don't have money, they don't buy things.
Yeah.
It's totally not like we're experiencing that now. You kids know how it is. But unlike now, there was responses. So with the slumping decline in purchasing of cars and various other things, we get the United Auto Workers Union forming in 1935, which is still a very active, and I think it's one of the last like big unions in the US at this point. I would have to double check on that. But there's also you get the Teamsters with Jimmy Hoffa starting around this time as well, handling the shipping and the freights in the warehouses. I'm not gonna get into the crime thing or the possible mafia ties with that. That's the thing you can explore on your own games and times, but that's when this starts. And then we get the WW2. So, the US military and the government went like, "Hey Detroit, we noticed business was bad. We've decided to go fight everybody."
All of them.
Yeah. So, we need you to, funnily enough, shift gears. Get it? It's a car pun.
Heyo.
Ayo. So Detroit does so, and Detroit will be producing 10% of all of the war material done by the United States, and with the wider Detroit metropolitan area producing 30% of all the war goods, which is nuts.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's wild.
I found I did not write down the names of the facilities. I feel bad I didn't, but there are just 2 facilities in the Detroit area produced more tanks than Nazi Germany ever does at any point. Like, it's wild to go through this because World War II history stuff. People are just like, ah, yes, the war footage and Saving Private Ryan and yada yada yada, and it's like, bro, we as a country and the industrial side just went hold my beer so hard. It's crazy. Also, during this time, FDR signs an executive order pushing to end discrimination in the hiring for private military contractors, which also aids in the demographic shifts in Detroit. Because it's just like hey, you want that government contract? Cool. We just need bodies and seats. Stop bitching. I need to go kick multiple people's asses, and I can't stand me, FDR. Don't worry about the polio legs. None of you will learn about that until after I'm dead. So that all happens. The economic boost not only boosted the city, but also provided a solid base for returning GIs because they got bennies with the GI Bills and stuff coming back from World War II. I'm going to talk about the second rest riot I'm going to talk about in this episode because it has some significance, unfortunately. So this riot that happens in 1943 is in the middle of the World War II stuff. For between June 20th and 22nd, there's tensions between the black and white workers in the various industrial areas of the city because, shockingly, a lot of these people understandably have issues with each other due to the Civil War and the chattel slavery and the Jim Crow.
What?
Yeah. And then, racist white folks are just like, these people are going to take my jobs and do awful things. And, just white supremacy be dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this basically explodes into multiple days of mob violence. There's a lot of really horrific accounts of white folks going into black neighborhoods, black folks going into white neighborhoods. I'm going to spare the graphic details. If you want to go look into that, you can do that in your own time. But I wanted to bring this up because these got so out of hand that in the middle of World War II, FDR had to pull the Insurrection Act to get federal troops to get the city under control. Like, yeah, which I think, at least in my terms of like doing protest work now, when there's been threats of the Insurrection Act getting pulled to use for federal troops to counteract things like, BLM in 2020 and other protests now, that's the incident that often has been cited as this is the last time someone pulled that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, oh, okay. So that is the thing. World War II will end. People will start doing the suburbanization thing. We'll slowly get into the civil rights movement, which I do want to talk briefly about. The Detroit Walk to Freedom, which happens on June 23rd, 1963. This is one of the nation's largest civil rights marches up until recently, which involved more than 125,000 participants. Back in 1963, when we did not have the internet, you had to call motherfuckers. You had to physically go get people and go, we are doing this thing, we are doing this march, we are doing this. Like, this is like heroic amounts of effort to get a regular protest going, let alone anyone of this magnitude. One of the many activist figureheads that led this march was Martin Luther King Jr. He gave a speech during this protest march that is basically cited as the precursor to the March on Washington speech that they do in August, a little bit in the future, which is the famous "I Have a Dream" speech. I saved a quote. We don't have to read it. I might put it in the Discord chat for folks just to have for reference, but it's I just wanted to cite it because as much as people like to scandalize things in Detroit as always being lots of racial tension, lots of violence and crime and problems, I'm just like, no, there's also like lots of people doing community and like actually putting in a lot of work and other things going on, and
I've heard
things
that
are
the
more
art scene
complicated.
there is really, really cool. That's not
Oh
necessarily
yeah.
like, completely related to what we're talking about, but I've heard the art scene there is really, really cool, especially like
Hmm.
not the hoity-toity style art, you know?
Oh yeah. I actually, before I decided on moving to Indianapolis, I was actually looking to potentially go to Detroit for art college. So,
I didn't know that.
yeah. So I almost went to Detroit instead of Indianapolis, and we would not have been friends if I had done that. So, oops.
The world would have been a worse place.
Truly. But yeah. So yeah, civil rights. That is the whole thing. You should look into it because it's cool and good, and voting is important. Part of what leads to all of Detroit's problem is this phenomenon of suburbanization, which I'll get into a bit. This happens across the U.S., and I know this also happens in other parts of the world, but I know it from the U.S. perspective the most, so that's where we're at. So, on top of globalization, deindustrialization, and major shifts in like housing practices, all of this basically compounds to start to chip away at Detroit being a functioning city over several decades. Uh, uh, a big chunk of the suburbanization issues this phenomenon called white flight. So basically, privileged and more affluent white folks would move from urban centers to suburbs. And when we do that in the US in particular, a lot of municipal funding comes from property tax. So if the folks who have more dollars and more assets to be taxed fuck off, that cuts the revenue for your area, which
Makes
then
sense.
decreases the value or the perceived value of the area, which then forces more people to leave, and it just becomes this like horrifying little systemic cycle. Um, uh, so that process starts to happen in the 60s and 70s, and it's going to just progressively continue to be going on in the background as we continue. So I just want you guys to please remember this. Detroit gets its first African American mayor in the 1970s, 1973.
Yo.
Yes. And then a few years after that, we get the fun 1970s, early 80s recession and oil crisis. I have no idea what that is like. But this was a massive problem for Detroit in particular because you have the problem of not only could people not afford the manufactured goods at these places, Detroit being the car city has a lot of commuting, and motherfuckers could not afford gas to get to their jobs. Like they physically could not get to work. So the city tried to invest in having a more robust public transit system to counteract all of the gas issues and revitalize parts of the city and be like, we're investing in things. And then Reagan went no. Reagan is just the devil from the Bible on top of all the other austerity cuts, cutting things for like mental health services, ignoring the AIDS crisis, the CIA with the drug running, and it's all terrible and happening in the background, which I will briefly, I'll try to get through this quickly, talk about poverty, crime, and segregation in terms of the city, because I fucking hate how often Detroit and Chicago and Indianapolis and a bunch of other cities that have large African American populations are talked about in the news and in media, and it drives me insane because there's a lot of shit people miss. That's important. God damn it. As of 2018, 33% of family income is below the federal poverty line in Detroit, which is
That's a large
giant
percentage.
Yeah, it's like when you remove industries, people are fucked. Uh, it's almost like, the industrialization and shifting everything to being a service economy had issues on top of many other things. As of 2016, 24.7% of Detroit households do not have a car, which is far higher than the national average of only 8.4% of Americans not having a vehicle for transport, which I know public transit would be fantastic. I would also love that, but we're also in a situation where a lot of cities don't have the infrastructure to handle public transport in ways that people need right now. A lot of folks have been moved out to suburbs or to rural areas, and they're just physically too far away from their jobs. So that compounds the poverty issues. Though I will say, the amount of reputation that Detroit has for crime, I think in modern times is very over exaggerated. Crime has dropped significantly since the 1980s, like everywhere else in the United States. I beg people, please go look at like actual crime stats. Like in the United States, I know things are crazy, but if you're looking in terms of like homicides, violent crimes, robberies, all the things that news freaks out about, like we are so safe. Things have gotten so much more calm than they were in the 70s, 80s, and even the 90s.
I mean, you could look at
Um,
our old neighborhood even
bro,
over in southern Broad Ripple, like where
yeah,
his house used to be. You can just look at
yeah,
that and like even see it.
yeah. There are problems. These things that people talk about in, again, the news and media. Uh, I promise it's not as bad as it's not as scary as people are saying. Um, per 2015 reports from the Detroit Times, a significant proportion of the sex, drug, and other related crimes committed within Detroit proper are committed by suburbanites coming in from outside the city. Which is very akin to the phenomenon of slumming, which started in being recorded in like Victorian London. You can find historical articles and things about this where, yeah, middle class and rich folks would go to poor neighborhoods and act a fool because it was amusing to them, and then would fuck off. And then the poor Asians would be like, "Oh yes, they're so riddled with crime," and it's like, "Bitch, you're coming here and doing the crime and then fucking off." Not to say that there aren't crime issues within these neighborhoods, but some of it is exaggerated. 2025 has the lowest homicide rate since the 1970s and 80s. 2025 had 165 homicides compared to 1985, which had 636, with the peak year of homicides being recorded in Detroit of 1974 of 714 in a year. So yeah, crime is way down, guys.
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to like do the math on what percentage that
Yeah,
is, and then like halfway through, I'm like, I'm not good at math.
that's okay.
Hey, maybe
That's
you should
fine.
fall in love with a calculator.
Yeah, pull a
Maybe
Richard Dawkins. Uh,
I
please
love
don't. He's
calculator.
terrible. Yeah, so it's I didn't want to bog down in percentages too much because that gets a little into part of the problem where statistics is a fuzzy math and you can kind of fuck with numbers to make things look in certain ways when they aren't if people don't understand things like standard deviation and I'm not here to do the math. It's just, hey guys, go look at the number go down, number go down.
Number down.
Mm-hmm. Per the city of Detroit, homicides are down to numbers similar to what they were in the 1960s, previous to the big spike that people like to sensationalize. Given that, as of 2017, the violent crime rate is much higher in Detroit proper compared to the surrounding suburbs, with the city being listed as the fourth highest murder rate in the country.
Hmm.
So, that's a situation where it's like as you hear, oh, it's the fourth highest murder rate. There must be so many murders happening. It's like, well, if violent crime has gone down across the board, but you're still number four, it's gonna sound bad if people don't put it in the context of, hey, like things are getting better, things are not as crazy as folks are saying. Um,
Hmm.
so how these kind of situations happen, understanding that there's decades of redlining, which was federal housing discrimination, where the federal government was like, we're going to literally block neighborhoods where whites can buy here, blacks can buy here, and we're just not going to tell anybody. HOAs, or residency covenants, as they've been called, uh, enforce policies that keep minorities from being able to access certain housing in neighborhoods. Predatory loans. There was the 1968 HUD Act and then the 2008 housing crisis. Both of those have conflicted into things. Highway infrastructures across the nation and in portions of Detroit, like bulldozed affluent minority neighborhoods. So people had to move and start over. Uh, Economic discrimination, general globalization, civil rights issues, all of this compounds in on itself to create a situation where it's like, yeah, you end up with portions of your neighbors or just generationally getting their knees cut out from underneath them, and then you put people in situations where they can't get out of that, and so some folks will turn to desperate measures.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I don't agree with those choices. But also when you set people up in a trap and then the trap gets sprung, it seems weird to go, I can't believe these people just like sticking their hands in traps. Like it drives me bananas. Yeah, so I just wanted to cover all of that because when you're getting into stories and narratives, I think it's important to understand these things because I had read some things about Detroit and World of Darkness that made me want to throw the books because it was like this is a rotting city that's just full of drugs and murder and blah, blah. And I'm like, I can't tell if you're trying to talk about this issue with some flair to highlight like how this doesn't need to be in with some sort of empathy, or if this is like tabletop gaming version of slumming and you're sensationalizing things and then reproducing narratives that are actually really harmful and stereotypical and weird. So yeah. Don't do that, please. I'm not saying you can't address, the housing issues. Like some of my favorite pieces of media do involve Detroit and like the vacant housing problems and other issues. But also like you can do it and not be a fucking asshole.
It's true.
Yeah. So Great Recession. Speaking of fucking assholes. So, between the years 2000 and 2010, Detroit will lose 25% of its population. Just people can't afford to live in the city and they move. It's a nightmare.
Hmm.
Yeah, which results in severe cuts to the state revenue. And this is compounded with decades of just mismanagement and fraud and other issues and the suburbanization issues and da da da. So Detroit ends up being $18 billion in debt.
That is so much.
That is so much money for, yeah, it's crazy. So I'm not gonna get into all the math with subprime mortgages because I'm not that smart. But basically, companies were like, we need to make a fuckload of money. There's people that are desperate for housing that we can give them shitty loans and then bundle them, do bad math things. And then when people couldn't afford those, they would get foreclosed. And then those foreclosed houses got resold for like pennies on the dollar. And then people got into situations where they bought these really cheap ass houses, but then the houses, the taxes owed on them did get restructured for the cheaper prices. People ended up owing the city thousands of dollars they didn't have to. And then they would get foreclosed on again and still owe the state thousands of dollars.
A
And
plus.
yeah, yeah. And a lot of the houses that got foreclosed on and then resold would sit vacant for long periods of time. So people being desperate would break into these empty houses and strip all the wiring and the copper and everything out of them. So you'd buy a house being like, oh my God, I was able to buy a house for like $5,000. And then you get in the house, there's no water heater, there's no electrical, there's no plumbing pipes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you owe the state like thousands of dollars in back taxes for property tax.
For something you can't really even use.
Yes.
Yeah,
This would happen
yeah.
multiple times. It is super fucked up. This problem becomes so out of hand that between 2008 and 2020, 1/3 of properties in the city will have been tax foreclosed, with black-owned houses being 10 times more likely to be tax foreclosed.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So a lot of those houses and properties would end up sitting empty because nobody could afford the housing. So there's large swaths of Detroit that have had empty houses. There's now houses torn down, so there's just like grass lots. Or the properties, instead of being home-owned houses, have become rental properties. Since 2014, 27,000 homes in the Detroit area have been demolished.
How many?
27,000.
1,000. Okay, just making sure I
Yep.
heard that correctly. Holy damn.
Yeah, 27,000.
Wild.
Which that was crazy to read about because I know folks we have hung out with were joking about roughly around this time period about buying a house in Detroit and moving from Indianapolis, and
Mm-hmm.
we didn't do it. I think because we were drunk 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
And just couldn't get our shit together. And now I'm sitting here
Yeah.
going, oh, I'm kind of glad we didn't do that. Holy shit.
Yeah,
That-
we would have been kind of fucked.
Yeah, so many people got fucked by this.
We would have
It's
all
a
lived up
nightmare.
there, moved up there, been like, wow, it doesn't have pipes or a water heater. Guess we're living here anyway, because we're here now. Didn't plan on how to get back yet.
So that's roughly where things are in the current timeline. So good news, a bunch of things have gotten better in the city. There's been a bunch of investments. Part of Detroit has also been designated as a city of design and is like a UNESCO heritage site. I know one of the old Henry Ford. I keep wanting to say I keep wanting to say the wrong name. Henry Ford Ford Motor Company
I didn't
facilities
say
is now like a college. It's like an art college.
I didn't say anything,
Um,
but I'm pretty sure at one point you called him Harrison Ford,
I'm so tired.
which is also a fun image.
Yeah, kind of.
Look,
I mean, when they make that documentary.
I would much rather have Harrison Ford than Henry Ford.
But would you rather have Henry Ford as Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
Oh, that
Henry
sounds
Ford as an
terrible.
actor portraying Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
No, Henry Ford's terrible. He's a bad man.
Maybe it's a
He's a
Hitler
bad person.
situation. If he just found
Yeah.
his love for acting.
Oh God, no, it's terrible. Anyways, so I will say there's a bunch of cool shit you can go do in Detroit. Detroit's rad. You should go. There is cool stuff. I don't know what you would need in current right now 2026 Detroit for your Detroit game. You guys have access to the internet and you can go find cool stuff. I know some folks in our community Discord have shared some Detroit-based things for their own home games. So if you want to join the Discord, it is free and you can get those resources. I have done the plug. Hooray.
Yeah.
So World of Darkness, bullshit for Detroit. Mage, as we said before, a lot of technocrats. So many technocrats. Mostly it is Iteration X that is around. They fucking loved Henry Ford. They loved that man. It was like their favorite thing. They also Iteration X's big thing apparently working in and around Detroit is capturing reality deviants and holding them in a prison colony.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah, they also work on like training up other technocrats and things like that. I also saw a thing that I had not heard of before in Mage called cyber fascists, which
Oh,
apparently are unawakened Iteration X agents, and I'm like, what,
what does that
what?
mean?
It's I don't have enough drugs. It's just I had to click on it and look at it because they were called cyber fascist, and the art for them is a bunch of people with shaved heads with little barcodes like tattooed on their foreheads.
Okay, very 90s.
It was very 90s, so I was just like, what is this? I don't have time. Just Iteration X, they're fucking around. They're doing stuff.
Fair enough.
The only traditions made shit I could find for Detroit is the I Habatan, which is a traditions mage group that focuses on correspondence from the Arab community. They are descendants of a lot of immigrant workers that they fight the technocracy, and that's kind of seems to be all they do there. That was all I could
Okay,
find.
all right.
So it's technocracy land, and then one little group of mages going fuck off, and a technocracy prison camp. No animal human hybrids that I saw though, so I guess that's
All
good.
right.
Hey yo, also stuff for Hunter. Um,
Yay! What you got for me?
yay. So this was part of the 90s and 2000s what the fuck for me. There is supposedly in the lore this group called the Sapa Inca, which is a Colombian drug cartel turned into international vampire hunting organization
Whoa.
that has taken to attack vampires in Detroit specifically in 2005, and they try to work with other cartels to be like, hey guys, there's vampires, we should kill them all. And I'm like, what I thought I was losing my marbles reading
Nope.
this. And I'm just like, why would the Colombian cartel come to Michigan to fight vampires? There are so many vampires between Colombia and Michigan. Like, what?
The lake called them.
There's other lakes.
It's that lake called them.
There's a river. There's a
They went to the
gulf.
other lakes thinking they were the lakes that was calling them, and then the lake was
I
like, "Nah, man, I don't even know who you are." They're like, "Damn,
yeah.
okay, well, I'll go to the
I
next
don't.
lake."
Yeah, hey guys, if you want to use that as a source or something for your game, cool. I think it's rather silly and a bunch of shit that I'm just like,
But why?
nah, I'm just like that. As far as I know, that's not how cartels work. This is also like ignoring all the issues around like Operation Condor and the Schools of the Americas. Like, also, why would they come up here to fight vampires? Anyways, I was crashing out. Anyways, we're gonna ignore
I'm
that.
having
There's
fun.
the things that make slightly more sense, which is the coalition, which if you guys remember from our Second Inquisition episode, is all of the various factions of the hunters working together to be like, hey, vampires, this is a problem. This is the hyper conglomerate from 5th edition for hunting orgs. Apparently, they decided that attacking Vienna and destroying the Prime Chantry for the Tremere went super good. So they're like, hey, we're on a winning streak. Let's keep going. So they decided to go to other vampire strongholds, and I guess they decided Detroit was a good option.
Huh. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
After 2008, around I believe it was like 2012 in my notes. Yeah. Go to Detroit, clear out all the vampires there, and they're just like, yeah, Detroit is all clear. We've done good. We got rid of the vampires. And then in October of 2018, a vampire escapes containment and embraces a whole bunch of Special Affairs Division and First Light agents and takes the city back.
No,
one vampire does this?
One vampire starts this. Yep.
but he creates a ton more.
Yes. So this strategic loss, as they're calling it, has put a lot of Second Inquisition agents into what they're terming a never talk, never listen policy in terms of interacting with vampires. Because
So you just
apparently
don't say
that was the
anything, you
problem.
just start shooting?
Yep. Do not engage. Just fucking kill it.
All right then.
Yeah. Particularly if you're dealing with Second Inquisition agents that are American, because they've all heard the horror stories of what happened in Detroit, and they're just kind of like, nope, nope, kill it, kill it. I don't care what research you can get from it, Deborah. We're killing it. Do you want to become a blood-sucking freak? That's how you get blood-sucking freaks. Speaking of blood-sucking freaks, the vampires.
Yeah, there's those guys.
In terms of World of Darkness lore, this was a pain in the ass. But what I was able to surmise is Detroit was a Camarilla stronghold until it fell to the spot during the 1960s. A small court of Camarilla existed in Ann Arbor, which is, I believe, on the outskirts of the metropolitan area, headed by a Prince Justin Stone, who is a gangrel, and he spent his time fighting the Sabbat and the Lupines in the area. He was not good at organizing a court, as apparently gangrel tend to, that if they're a prince, your city is just going to be fighting, and that's all you're going to be doing, apparently. It's like, the prince is a gangrel. The city will be chilled. There will no.
Nope. We fight.
Nope. Hope you like fighting werewolves. What? Fuck. Detroit, with its Sabbat leaders, apparently, the people in charge of that were also high-ranking members within the Black Hand.
Oh.
None of them got along. Shocking. No one. They constantly fought. This caused problems.
I would never have guessed.
By the time we get to the early 2000s, the infighting resulted in the death of a visiting Sabbat cardinal and the loss of the bishops in the city, which caused a massive power vacuum, which may be compounded with the Second Inquisition being like, yeah, we're going to fight all these vampires. And it's like, I mean, they kind of defeated themselves before you got here, guy. This maybe wasn't the strategic victory. Yeah. This maybe wasn't the dub you thought it was. More interest, at least what I thought was slightly more interesting, was a bunch of independent factions do really well in Detroit. The Giovanni established their own holdings, and snuck in the middle of all of that was a harbinger by the name of Mordecai, who settled in Detroit because he liked to study the Kuai-Jin and vampires. And apparently he's just such a good little study buddy. Both Kuai-Jin and vampires hold him in high regard and would visit for him to do science.
That's nice. Nice.
So I guess if you want to stick Kuai-Jin in your Detroit game, it's canon.
Wild.
Yeah. The ministry also has a bunch of churches here. When the Sabbat was ruling, there seemed to be a strong presence of the Typhonists, which were the more Sabbat-leaning Settites, because of the path of typhoon thing. A lot of the Settites in the city are the Walid Settites, which are the ethnically Arab Church of Set followers. There's a lot of rumors that they were moving people and assets out of Egypt and adjoining countries into Detroit. There's also evidence in the lore that Hesha Ruhazid was either kidnapped or allowed himself to be captured for his own purposes. Maybe started kicking off Gehenna in Detroit. Whoops. You know.
That's where it all started.
Yeah, look, Snake Pope's gonna Snake Pope. There's some interesting lore notes and potentials in Beckett's Jihad Diary if you want to read that and include those in your game or not. It was just one of those, was doing research and then went, I forgot he was here. What are you... Literally the meme of Pickup Rock. Oh, there's a little snake. What are you doing here, buddy? That's not where you go. And that maybe made all of the plot for the game go. Who knows? How many ministers are in Detroit as of V5 plot? I'm not certain. I feel like that number is going to dwindle drastically because there's also a sizable Banu Hakim presence in Detroit. Also due to the high Arab population in the area. And they have also been moving people and assets to the Americas through these cultural connections. And the Detroit area is become one of the major hubs for the Banu Hakim outside of West Asia. So, yay. The Banu are doing things.
Aren't they kind of always doing things, though?
Yeah, but it's not often... It's until recently, it's not often you would see them unless you went to their house.
I guess that's fair. Yeah.
You would have to go to them and then be like, oh man, you guys have been busy. But now you're just like, oh, I have Banu Hakim at home.
I have Banu Hakim at home.
One of my favorite things for the edition is Detroit based that we have, which is the Bool. This, as I have talked about in other episodes, so I'll be brief. This is named for ancient Greek councils. This is a faction of non-spot vampires that pooled together to survive and thrive without the backing of any faction.
Pretty wild.
They manage themselves through direct democracy, with each member of the Bull having an equal vote. They expect the Sabbat to return or regroup due to the Gehenna Wars, and they have pivoted from working in entertainment, mostly through like casinos and other kind of shady entertainment ventures, into finance and banking, which is totally not shady at all. Mm-mm. They mostly handle banking and money laundering for vampires within their local area, with some major accounts outside of that. They also handle transporting Nodus texts and blood sorcery artifacts.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So, you could have your players do a road trip to Detroit to go steal some artifacts from a vampire bank.
That does
Nothing
sound
could
really
go
fun.
wrong. Yeah. Then we also finally get some notes about what the fuck the Ashira's doing.
Ooh.
They also have holdings in Detroit, also through their connections with the Arab community in the area. And therefore the Detroit metropolitan area has become one of their major hubs outside of West Asia, where they mostly, again, we have Ashira at home situation. We don't have to go to their house, we have Ashira at home. Considering their alliance with the Camarilla in the current meta plot, I would put that Detroit is leaning far more Camarilla friendly at this point. I will also note really briefly, as I mentioned in the Hunter section, in the Vampire section, the vampire side of it, the purge of vampires in Detroit was called the Detroit Hunt of 2012.
Man, could have had a better name.
Could have had. So, with the Special Affairs Division and the First Light agents raiding through Detroit, removing all of the terroristic threats, this seems to have predominantly moved what was left of the Sabbat in the city, along with vampires who were foolish or bold enough to be very loose with how they use technology. Yeah.
That's not good.
The Detroit Hunt and the Fall of London both happened in 2012, which would, I think, only reinforce the Camarilla's no phones policy. Because it's like, okay, the Prime Chantry gets attacked, and then 4 years later, Detroit and then London are both just like cleared. And it's like, hey guys, quit snitching on yourselves on the fucking internet, for fuck's sake. You're all gonna die because you fuckers won't stop putting things on Instagram. With Detroit having been reclaimed by vampires as of 2018, both the Second Inquisition and the Camarilla seem to be very withdrawn and cautious with their exploits. And I'd also say, given the post-COVID climate and the rise of AI, it might be hard to gauge how either side is going to be partaking in espionage at this point.
Oh, do you think the Camarilla would develop like an AI or a large language model that just scrubs the internet for things that are masquerade breaches and like gets rid of them via like, even if it's just like, I'm sending them like 200 subpoenas of, you need to take this off the internet, this is inappropriate, it starts, I don't know,
like
reporting the
bots to do,
accounts, things like that.
I think that could work. I think you could also have a lot of bot accounts and potentially be using AI models to create pictures and images that are also just going to flood the internet with AI slop that just looks like vampire bullshit. So when vampire bullshit shows up, it just looks like AI nonsense.
Right, yeah.
So could do both, I guess. Vampires don't need to drink water or breathe air, so I guess if they poison the planet, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the
Food
Camarilla,
source.
so like...
John, that was a great question. It made me really sad, but...
Yeah!
Yeah! We love this game. You're good. But the final update, and I might ask the audience for help going forward in this endeavor. So apparently, as of 2021, Detroit has a prince. Apparently.
Congratulations,
Farah Sarub declared praxis and has officially been labeled the Prince of Detroit. I have found no text for this, though, confirming this outside of a card for Vampire the Eternal Struggle. I dug around. I know that the lore for the card game also carries into the meta plot for the wider game. I could not find any information on this character. I don't know who makes up the court now. I don't know what's going on with any of that shit. If there's a resource I have just overlooked because I don't engage in the trading card game, I would love if somebody would point me in a direction and I will figure it the fuck out. I spent a stupid amount of time digging around trying to be like, oh, is there a PDF or a lore book or something that I could find with more information on what the fuck's going on? And the answer was, we
No.
have 2 trading cards. One was published in 2023, one was published in 2021. But it's the same picture of the same lady.
Hell
the art
yeah.
is sick. The illustration is sick. Don't get me wrong. But I do not know enough about this card game to be able to get any more information than that. So if anybody plays the game and wants to help me figure out how the fuck I'm supposed to research this, that would be cool.
Yeah, super neat.
Yeah. So that's all the WAD stuff I have. In terms of stuff related to Detroit that I'm like, this is a cultural thing that I think is important. Beyond the thousands of fucking musicians and artists that come out of Detroit that are very fundamental, I will give a specific shout out to Motown and punk as genres coming out of Detroit. I will forever argue that punk comes out of Detroit sound wise. We don't have the time for me to get into that gigantic of a lecture. But in terms of a cultural touchstone that I thought would be fun to end this on, we're going to talk about Little Caesars Pizza.
Ooh, finally.
All right, let's go.
Hell yeah. Little Caesars, for those who somehow do not know, is a chain of pizza that got started in Michigan, in the Detroit area. It is a cheap pizza, but it is hot, it is ready, and by God, worth the money that you're spending on. I will forever stand a Little Caesars Pizza. And the gentleman who is the owner of Little Caesars quietly gave housing to one important civil rights leader, Rosa Parks, because he found out she was living in Detroit and I can't remember if she was homeless or was going to be homeless, but she was an elderly lady at this point, and he quietly said, fuck it, not on my watch. I'm using my Little Caesars money and getting this bitch a house. And he did. And he didn't talk about it. He told no
Love
one.
it.
He just did it.
Love
Which is
this.
why I do not feel bad spending money on Little Caesars pizza. Which, when I was double checking some notes for Little Caesars whilst doing the research for this, I did not have my VPN on. I was not aware there are Little Caesars here in the UK.
And now
Nice.
you know where every single one of them are.
I don't know where every single one of them is, but I was gonna leave it up to you guys if I should go and hunt down a British Little Caesars and see if it holds up.
Of course.
Okay, have a little
Yeah,
piece
try
of
it out.
Detroit
See,
while I'm away.
let us know how it goes.
Yeah. So I wasn't sure if there was any Detroit related media or anything y'all wanted to share while we are wrapping up the episode.
Hellmouth is from Detroit. That's a good band.
Hell yeah, Hellmouth.
Hellmouth.
I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
Detroit's one of the few cities in the Midwest I haven't been to.
Oh
Yeah,
really?
actually, I haven't. I think I've been through Detroit, but I've never actually been in Detroit.
I mean, I know I'm aware people should be aware of the illustrious cultural touchstone that is the film 8 Mile.
Yeah.
But in terms of vampire media, there is the movie I like. I know some. I believe Hunter's the one that doesn't like it. Only Lovers Left Alive.
I think
Is
it's a
that
very pretty
Detroit?
movie. I just
Yeah.
didn't get into the plot whatsoever.
I liked it. I thought it was a good movie.
That's fair. Yeah. But if you want to get a urban gothic fantasy look at Detroit, with Tilda Swinton and Tom Hiddleston with a bitchin' soundtrack, I highly recommend that film as a point of reference. I fucking love that movie. I know it is artsy and slow, but that is shit I like because I am an asshole. Oh no, did John has been taken.
Rip.
Was it the Little Caesar?
Yeah. Well, Caesar got him.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I'm very tired because I did a lot of research for this episode. But like Stooges from Detroit, very important band. Death from Detroit. Again, if you like Motown and funk, digging into record labels from that area, fantastic shit. I suppose it might behoove us that's like, hey, if you're running your game in the city, go fucking look into shit. There's a bunch of cool things. There are some things that you could make you go but other things that are cool. Yeah. Did we have any? Oh, is John coming back?
Maybe.
I somehow got muted.
There you
Oh, okay. I was worried you had been gotten by the Little Caesar.
I did get gotten, but now I'm back
Ah.
again.
The Ides of March in May.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you guys had any other things you wanted to wrap in on the city deep dive.
Nothing comes to top of my
Yeah, I
head.
can't think of anything specifically right now.
Yo. Is there any cities that you want us to chuck onto the poll that you could think of that you want to like tease folks with? Because there will be a poll.
Nashville.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Oh my god.
Nashville
Oh
would be
my
pretty.
god.
I bet Nashville's cool. If there's very much on it, but I bet it's kind of cool.
Oh, let me see. Let me see if it's viable. That's my concern.
Nashville or Asheville, either one would be interesting.
Oh my
Yeah, I'd be down with Nashville. Do you have any in mind already, Sarah?
god. If you really want me to put Nashville on there, I'm gonna scream. I'm not
I mean,
against it.
I think it's cool.
Now I doubly want it on there.
Damn it. Okay, I'll put Nashville on the list. I I I don't remember where the previous poll was. Hunter, you probably have it, but I think since it's been a while, we'll shake up the list. We can put Nashville on there. I was gonna say put Cairo on the list.
Mm.
How much do I want to hurt myself?
Savannah, Georgia.
I was trying to not do too many US locations.
Okay.
I was trying to not. I was like, we got our one. We got Nashville. Nashville, Cairo. Let's say Prague.
Yeah.
I mean, rip blood hunt. So you're on the poll. And do we? I'm trying to think. It's like, do we just chuck Sydney on there and see what happens?
Sydney's wild.
Yeah, that's just I'm like, it's like Sydney or Perth.
Wait,
one of the two.
I know
gotta
that
remember.
I know that you said no America, like US,
Yeah.
but it's still in the Americas. But what if
What?
oh fuck. What if we did Anchorage, Alaska?
That did America.
I know that. That's why I said not like it's in the Americas and it is part of the US, but it's so fucking far off and weird. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I misheard, and I was
It's
like,
practically in
okay.
a different continent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
Not literally, but
it's almost kissing Russia in a way that Putin would throw it in jail.
right, exactly.
Yeah. Uh, we'll if you're on the patrons, you'll be able to go look at the poll and to see what we have actually decided.
I'm just trying to think of cities that I'm sure there aren't that many things, but the few things that there are going to be fucking weird, you know?
Oh yeah, things are just gonna make me like fucking scream.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just like I would think it would be cool to cover like Delhi or Osaka or like Sao Paulo maybe. But
Sao Paulo would be cool.
Sao Paulo could be cool. Yeah, we'll get it figured out. I'm just trying to not be super US centric on the polls because there's shockingly a world of darkness, and I would like to not constantly scream at my own politics while researching.
Yeah, we can scream about other politics.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
But if we leave the US centric deep dives, how are we possibly going to just stay in the Midwest forever?
That's true. Much like a good Midwesterner, I think my life will be fixed if I flee the Midwest. That will clearly solve all of my problems.
Unfortunately, we all have a little hook in our spine that it just like very slowly reels us in.
Yeah, the
We're
corn
coming
calls
back.
to us.
You can never fully escape.
Truly, that is the case. All right. Paralyze, thank you. Music. It's on Bandcamp. Go give them dollars. We have social medias. I should start using them. If you really want to like talk to us and hang out with the community, the Discord is the best option. It is free. We will pop in there and say hello to things. Folks also run games and help workshop things and share fantastic memes.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Uh, Patreon, if you like the work that we've been doing, you want to give some dollar dues, we appreciate that. It helps pay for costs and things and books. Um, oh God, what
Books
other
are
fuck else is
expensive.
going on? Books are expensive but important.
It's true.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I maybe shouldn't speed run 10,000 years of history in an episode. I think that's something I need to accept about my life.
Could be fun.
Just like my brain is soup. Get us out of here, guys, please.
Okay, I guess we're leaving now. Bye.
I'll see ya.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. I'll see you in the next city over, I guess. Mwah. I don't know, man. I had to make it weird.
Yeah.